All right, what's up, everyone? It's Zach, and today I'm here with a very special guest. I'm here with my man, Mike Hernton. Michael, how's it going today? I just called you Michael. Meant to say Mike.
It's
Mike, how's it going?
all good, Zach. All good.
Good, good. Well, thank you for taking some time to talk tonight. Really happy to have you and excited for the conversation.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm excited too.
Awesome, awesome. So, yeah, Mike, or I guess as my mind wanted to call him Michael. Mike is a really cool person. He's currently wrapping up his time in grad school, which is really awesome. His fellow grad school student over here, it's really cool to hear about that. He's also big into content creation. You can find Mike on YouTube doing things with vlogging and just kind of like lifestyle videos and such. Good variety of things, really entertaining. So between school, internship, finding his future career path, and just putting out content, that's where you can really find a lot of Mike spending his time. But that's just a little bit about him on the surface. Do you mind kind of diving into your background a little bit, who you are, what you're up to, all that good stuff?
Yeah, so right now, like you said, I'm a grad student. I go to Wayne State University. I'm there for my master's of occupational therapy. So, for all of you that aren't familiar with the occupational therapy, long story short, it's just like kind of just like movement of the upper body. It's like long story short, and just like rehabbing you back to it would perform your AD, like your daily living. If you snap something, I'll get you back in place. Put it like that. That's like put it
Okay,
like that.
awesome.
Um, and then like got my that's where my master's, got my bachelor's from Oakland University, class 2019. Shout out to those Grizzlies. Um, and yeah, like you said, my content creating, I got big into it over COVID
Okay.
actually. Because I just want to just first started like grad school, and like when we had the break, I really had nothing better to do. So I just started just I started doing like motivational talks, but then I quickly moved that over to vlogging. I saw someone else doing vlogs like at their class, so I decided to do it. And just like and it'd be fun, like just for memories of the class. And then eventually I moved on to like just like day of lives and like, I got a few football vlogs on there. People like vlogs, so
Yeah, that's a good point. I think vlogs are really cool, and there's a lot of things that you can do with it to make it unique or entertaining. Um, what really made you gravitate towards vlogs specifically?
so like I said, it was kind of like just like watching someone else do it. Like
Okay.
kind of like I wanted to do YouTube. Like I've always wanted to do it, but I just thought that I wasn't like just kind of like nervous about starting out with it. And then
Hmm.
eventually I said, over COVID, since I really have nothing better to do either on break, I decided like, let me try out the try out the motivational talks. And
Hmm.
then I stopped YouTube for a sec. Then I went to vlogging like my classmates and like just classes and just my life in general.
Hmm.
And they started like it. It was just like it's just fun to do. Like
Okay.
my main thing is I just kind of want to build a following because like
Yeah.
being in occupational therapy school, like, it's cool because like, like the money and the time and all that, but at the same time, I won't be like boxed in to like you make
Mhm.
like you're limited to what you can do. And like let's say like it's cool because I'm 26 and it's cool like just like whatever you're making is cool now. But say when you're like 50, you might want to make more, you might want to do more.
Mhm.
And, just like just overall the profession. I just want to be able to expand more because I hear all the time people aren't happy with their jobs, like they're not making enough money, and like you might just get bored of it. So I just thought let me just start something so I can have like options and a following. You know?
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense, and, I'm curious, Mike, you kind of taught a little bit about having options with your future and your career and everything, and, you mentioned, you're wrapping up grad school for, occupational therapy, and that's the career field you're going into. Is that a career and a path that you're really interested in and you really enjoy? Or is it kind of like, I don't mind it. It seems like I could have a good future, make decent money, have a good living. Is it like something that you truly love, or is it just like, I think it's a good career choice?
No, it's something that I truly love. I've always wanted to be into
Okay.
therapy. I couldn't imagine anything else that
Nice.
like I wanted to do because like the reason I went to occupational therapy is because my grandmother, when I was like 13 years old, she had a big stroke,
Mm,
and then it took out her whole right side of her body.
mm,
And like when you have a stroke, you're like you have what am I trying to say? Not it's not paralysis or like it's hemiparesis basically. So you have no movement of the right side of your body. So long story short, she wasn't able to really move. She wasn't able to like function how she usually is.
Okay.
So I remember like during like her time of recovering, an occupational therapist came to her house to do a home visit, and then I see them like playing catch and then
Yeah.
like just working on her movement of her right arm. I even remember they brought like you know what the TheraBands are? It's like rubber
Yeah.
stretchy bands you might see in a physical therapy clinic. That's what really caught my attention. I really like the color of the bands. That's just something I remember from back then,
Okay.
and that's what kind of led me to like go down to the therapy road because it just seems like something that's active, you
Okay.
know, on top of like besides like being behind the desk. You know? So I therapy is a true passion for it.
I love that. That's awesome. That makes a huge difference. And, Mike, something that this is true for me and maybe to other people listening. I've definitely heard a lot about physical therapy, PT, physical therapists, stuff like that. Occupational therapists or occupational therapy, I have heard of, but I'm not too familiar with. Like, what's, if any, is like the major difference between physical therapy and occupational therapy?
Yeah, so the main difference between well, let's start with physical therapy. Physical therapy is like physical therapist is an expert of a movement. That's what they call them, physiotherapists. So
Okay.
anything that you would need to like you see them like work on your like your gait
Okay.
or your let's say if you're in a hospital setting, your transfers, like they see you like working with that. It's basically I don't want to say the lower body, but it's kind of like you just simple terms, they kind of just work on just movement, because they do upper body as well. I guess is the best way to say it, just like movement therapists. And then
Okay.
occupational therapists, we're more of just for your like daily living. So what we do is let's say someone got in a car accident and now they have like and they got in a car accident, now they have trouble like let's say like reaching like like reaching overhand activities
Okay.
or like oh cooking, let's say they have trouble cooking. So what occupational therapists do is they would do interventions to like rehab them back
Mm,
to like practice on the cooking because like let's say they have trouble like reaching or they have trouble bending down or something. An occupational therapist will work on like that, so they're more oriented towards your daily tasks and your daily living. We work on ADLs, activity of daily living. Well, physical therapy, they more so work on like just movement.
okay. Gotcha. So would it be like occupational therapists or therapy is gonna help more so with just, like, living a normal life the way that you should and, like, back to normal, whereas, like, physical therapy might be more of that, like, sports injury, like, rehabbing from, like, a torn meniscus or something, like, is that when you'd really focus to? Because 'cause you're not really necessarily learning the basics, you're learning to, like, perform at a high, like, athletic level again, like, does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, yeah, that actually is like if you like, like that actually is like a good like distinction of the two, like
Okay.
depending on the settings, because there are times that like physical therapists, like let's say you're in a nursing home setting, like it's not all really just about sports, but that's like a good takeaway, like to distinguish the two, because typically physical therapists do more so work with sports. Again, it's a wide range of like
Mhm.
settings and activities you can do, but I would say yeah, that's pretty much like a way you could distinguish that.
Okay. That's awesome. That's really cool, and I'm learning a lot from this conversation, so it's always awesome to learn some. So, occupational therapy, I know you're doing some internships and getting some field work in. Is there, like, a specific, like, demographic or, like, you mentioned, like, if you get in a car accident, like, are folks that get in car accidents maybe, like, the kind of clientele that you wanna work with, or are you open to just working with anyone? Like, do you kinda have a specific niche that you wanna work for or work with?
Yeah, so I'll go into my master plan. So what I have planned for is like I want to work. So my first job out of college, I wanted to do inpatient, which is basically the hospital.
Mhm.
That's where you're working with like someone that like sorry, but that's basically like you're working with someone that maybe they had like a stroke or something. Like
Okay.
they would come down to the therapy gym and you work on them. Basically, I want to do that setting, a hospital setting, so I just get the information and knowledge I could get from like other therapists around, senior therapists, and just kind of take that. And then from there, I would like to go to an outpatient, which is more like a clinic that like you typically will see like sports injuries there. Like someone,
Yeah.
let's say a baseball player snaps his rotator cuff or something, occupational therapists, they would, do some interventions, shoulder interventions or whatever it is to like rehab them back to normal. And that's kind of more of like, I guess in a way applicable, like type of like interventions they could use to like, someone like because everyone plays sports. So
Mhm.
that was one of the like, help you out in life. And then the last step of the plan, I guess, is like to do home health.
Okay.
Basically, just to get like so I get like a wide range of the variety of settings. And home health is more flexible with their settings. And yeah, and then after that, I really would like to open my own clinic
Okay.
and yeah, just kind of like I said, like build a get a following and we're strong enough to open my own clinic. So that's the master plan I want to take with therapy.
Okay. Awesome. I love it. And with occupational therapy is and maybe this is true for physical therapy as well, but like as you're talking about it, it sounds like it's it kind of has to be more reactive. It can't be like proactive. Like you can't really like prevent someone from having a stroke, but like if they do have the stroke, then like you can help them kind of with the recovery. Is that always the case? Or like are there things that we as humans can do to maybe help us before we get to the point where we need to see an occupational therapist?
Yeah, so a good example of that is like I always say is like let's say like I'm pretty sure you work out, so you've probably
Yeah.
heard it from the gym. Is let's say you're about to pick up a heavy object, bend with the
Mhm.
knees instead of your back. That's like the main. That's like the like just like main thing. Because let's say like you take like a trader, like a like a worker that's like I don't know someone working in a factory line, and
Mhm.
you like that's something you just teach them because like there is a setting of occupational therapy that does target those who are injured on the job. So and then doing a job like where it involves like heavy lifting or something like it'd be something like that is in the same way kind of like there's safety precautions put in place. So like
Okay.
there's someone that's like I guess not fully functional. Like let's say someone's at a fall risk, like someone's not steady on their feet. Usually this is an elderly population. You would
Mhm.
tell them you would give them like other like what am I trying to say? You give them like other like I guess in a way like tips that they could follow, just like stuff to basically just to like give them like type of like training to like make what they're trying to do easier. Like I know for some like elderly patients, they might do what we call like scissor walking. It's basically like I wish I could like show you, but like it's basically where they're like kind of walking like on top of their feet.
Yeah,
And
yeah, okay.
that's like you're gonna trip doing that. So that's why we teach them like, yo, walk farther apart more. And like,
Okay.
and let's go back, let's stay in the nursing home setting. That's where I did my internship at.
Okay.
Don't lean so hard on the walker
Mm,
because like that's how you get carpal tunnel and you can hurt your hand basically putting too much pressure on it. So there are safety precautions you can put into place
okay.
that yeah to prevent injuries.
Gotcha. And now, like with those precautions and everything you talked about, kind of like the elderly population, which makes sense, right? Like as you get older, I'm sure your body's changing. You're, not as strong, not as maybe resilient as you were when you're younger. Um, I'm also 26. So as 26-year-olds or people in their 20s around the same age as us, how important is it for us to like think about these things and maybe implement safety precautions or just be more conscious of what we're doing? Like, is that something we should focus on now while we're still like young and healthy? Or is it like, you don't really have to worry about it until you get kind of more to the elderly population?
No, actually, yeah, you should worry about that. Like now, maybe not as like as like urgent as you will when you're like going to your 40s and 50s. We actually had a class on this, that talked about like aging throughout your life because
Hmm.
it talked about how so many people, so many elderly like elderly citizens that they end up homeless because they have no retirement fund or like I guess like patients that they live in giant houses and like they originally they came from a house with 4 kids and now the kids all moved out and now it's just a giant home with like two elderly like residents that aren't fully functional. So it's just like types of safety like that and just even also things like I'm not gonna lie, I have a bad habit of cracking my knuckles
Yeah.
and sometimes just like the constant pressure of that like if I don't stop which I really need to stop that could also like cause like carpal tunnel from just like constantly just like cracking it
Really?
a lot um and then also oh your posture for example like if you sit up if you have like trash posture sit up you sit down like this that could cause
Hmm.
back issues in the near future, or like just like even when typewriting, like I said, like back to like injuries on the job. It's just
Yeah.
simple stuff. Like it won't you won't feel it immediately, but just over time, it's like kind of those wear and tear type
Mm.
effect. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it definitely does. So, like, if let's say, you know, I don't know, posture, for example. So let's say my posture is really bad. And like after this conversation, I'm like, okay, Mike had some really good points. Like I need to get better posture. If I start working on my posture now and improve it, will I like the wear and tear that's already happened due to having bad posture, like, is that still gonna be there, just like not as much? Or like is it possible to like magically make my posture better to the point where like I'm not really gonna have those negative impacts from the old habits that I did have?
Well, basically, when you let's say you had bad posture, and let's say you stopped it today. So
Mhm.
basically, like technically there is wear and tear, but it's just like not significant to where you would feel it. So like you're good. But like
Okay.
let's say like you're 26, like if you kept like your bad posture up to your 46, then you might feel the effects of it. Like when we like bend
Okay.
over, the oh my back, those
Yeah.
type of thing. Yeah, like that type of thing. So
Okay.
technically, if you started like good posture now, it wouldn't theory, no, it technically wouldn't improve, but it would prevent it rather. It would
Yeah.
prevent it instead of like improving it. So, because like I said, like since we're like young and like haven't much time to like really mess it up,
Mhm.
it wouldn't really like you really wouldn't affect it if you were to fix it today.
Okay. Gotcha, gotcha. And, Mike, when you mentioned cracking your knuckles,
Yeah.
that's something that I have a bad habit of. And in addition to that, like I just like I crack my neck, my back, um, anything my knuckles, anything you can crack, I probably try to do it. So is that not good for you? Should I stop doing that?
Personally, I feel like if you could just limit it, because let's just be honest, we all half the people I talk to have a bad habit of cracking their knuckles. Me
Yeah.
personally, I just believe it's like to relieve stress, honestly.
Yeah.
That's personally why I believe it does it. And like it people have had theories of where the cause arthritis, but there's no like studies, at least that
Okay.
I know of. There could be, but from what I've seen at least, I haven't seen any studies that like it like directly causes arthritis or really anything. Carpal tunnel, I mean, like if you were to get it from there, it'd be pretty like it'd just take a little few months of rehabbing
Okay.
for well, potentially surgery, but usually usually it would just take a little bit, especially someone that's like, younger,
Mhm.
it wouldn't be that seriously. So I personally believe crack your knuckles like to limitation because think about it, like you know like how you're just like you could be just like walking something like you put your hand on the table and then boom you crack a few knuckles like
Yeah.
some stuff you just can't prevent. So I personally just believe it's not horrible, but like if it's starting to cause like wear and tear your muscles, like you get like thumb pain
Mhm.
sometimes, like then I believe that's like it's an issue, like like stuff
Okay.
like type,
Gotcha. So pretty much just like anything, just like in moderation, right? Like,
right,
it's fine to do it, just don't do it overboard or go crazy with it.
yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And I know we kind of touched on this a little bit, but to anyone that's listening, whether they're like us in their 20s, maybe they're in their teens, maybe they're in their 50s or 60s, to anyone listening, is there like one thing that you would suggest that we could do to improve our body or our health or prevent some of the wear and tear or potential damage we could be causing? Like one thing that we should start doing today?
So I would say someone like, and I would say, let's say like someone in their 20s, like us, for example, I would just say like, and I'm kind of guilty not doing this, but I would say stretch a little more. That's always something to prevent like
Yeah.
compressions and all that. If you are experiencing pain, I know for a fact that just constant range of motion, that's really a big like domain of occupational therapy. I would just say stay active. I mean, really anything that can just like anything else, just like staying active. I mean, you really can't like staying active. I really don't think it cause really too much damage unless it's like done like out of moderation. But yeah, those are my
Okay.
main things. I know. So yeah, stretching, staying active, icing. If you have an injury, icing it
Okay.
for someone our age. And obviously, let's say like elderly, if anyone guess a little elderly is watching, I would say, um, just be aware of your safety, so you decrease falls, because falls, the older you get, like, cause a lot of problems.
Yeah, I think we all, can envision that classic commercial that's like, "Oh, help, I've fallen and I can't get up,"
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff, and
yeah.
yeah, exactly, and I think it's like that it is true. I mean, I think we all have probably have or know, someone elderly in our family who has fallen and maybe broken a bone from it or just maybe not broken, but it just felt like severe pain from it. So it is a serious thing, and it's something that I think you brought up a good point earlier. Like even just like the way that you walk can be something that like a little thing that you can adjust that could prevent those things or just, you know, a little tip, if you will, to keep yourself safe.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Definitely. So, with your content creation, the vlogs that you're doing and stuff, and just thinking about your career with occupational therapy, have you ever thought about kind of merging those two together and just doing content related specifically just to occupational therapy?
Yeah, so actually that's what I plan on doing when I graduate. So
Okay.
when I graduate and, I got to you have to take a board exam to get your license.
Okay.
What I do plan on doing is I plan on breaking down, like, other injuries, like, who's an example? So no one has yet. I'm big into football. I watch NFL. I have a bunch of fantasy leagues that I'm in. But yeah. So typically, like, let's say, like, I'm pretty sure a quarterback somewhere is about to tear something in their shoulder or something, and I'll
Yeah.
just probably break down kind of like what they need to do to rehab it.
Okay.
Suggestions I would make for them to like increase like like to like increase the I guess like the potential of it, like, and to save, like, the prevent wear and tear and prevent further injuries.
Hmm.
Basically, just give a breakdown of the injury and how they can prevent it, like a diagnosis, treatment, symptoms, and all that. I mean, I want to do that after I get my license, so like it's like legitimate advice
Hmm.
type stuff. That's how we want to relate it. And then like I said, I kind of just at this point, like, I want to just get a vlog where I just like get subscribers or followers, like, because
Yeah.
I just want to following. So,
Hmm.
and then like, I always thought like, I think the main reason I started vlogging is because like, I wanna following so I could open a clinic and like I would have patients.
Hmm.
And it's better to do that. I would say like I started vlogging. When I think I was like 23 or 24,
Okay.
and then started doing like I started YouTube when I was like 23, 24, but started vlogging like right before I turned 25. I
Okay.
always thought it's better to like start, better start at 25 than 35. So you already
Right.
have like, a background in doing it. You just have like more time and
Hmm.
just like you're always just staying hungry type stuff. So, because I know like my vlogging and my videos and my content creating will be if I start now, be better like 10 years from now.
Yeah.
So it's like, you never know. It's better to start now, now than later.
Exactly. I mean, like, I think a lot of us maybe have these great ideas or want to do these things, but like we almost get scared to start. And starting is intimidating. It can be tough and, it is scary, but it's like you said, why wait 10 years to do it? Like, just do it now. And I mean, like you started YouTube, you said like 3 years ago. I mean, the videos that you put out 3 years ago, like, I'm sure you probably could look back and be like, "Oh my gosh, what was I thinking? That video is terrible. Like, that was just the worst idea." But it's like, that just like, while you might cringe at it, it shows all the growth that you've made over the time. And like, you've probably learned so much along the way. You know how to do better content. You know how YouTube works. And like you said, like, it's better to start now and just like build those skills, get that like comfort level up and just, start earlier. And there's never too late to start. But I mean, the more experience you can get, the better.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Because when I first started YouTube, I was like scared, like how I blinked. I was like kind of blinking patterns. Like that's how exactly that's how
Yeah.
intimidated I was of being on YouTube. But like one thing I will say about content creating is that it definitely makes you like more of a like not gonna lie, it kind of boosts like your confidence up.
Yeah.
Like you're making like I'm pretty sure you could attest to this. Like it like I'm kind of lost for words right now, but like it just makes you more like confident because like you're going out like because most people outside like Snapchat, Instagram, they're not really like take they're it's kind of like because like with YouTube, it's kind of like you have to like vlog everything. Like
Mhm.
if you see some of my vids, like it might only be like 10, 12 minutes, but on my camera, it'd be like 40, 50 minutes.
Right.
Like, so it's just constantly like just improving, like it's constantly just like, and also web developing, I feel like is also another thing that I learned through this. But like I feel like it definitely improved my confidence, just like in terms of just like interacting, because you have to be like very social, because like I record like a lot of like content. I put like a lot of friends in there, and I always get their consent because just to make sure they're comfortable and avoiding issues. And and also just another skill to have, because I feel like we're moving into a time where web development, video like editing and development is like the new thing.
Mhm.
I feel like um the yeah, yeah, basically like it's like that's a good skill to have just for like marketing techniques.
Yeah.
And again, I feel like might as well just get it now. And same with like again, if you look at my YouTube, like all the like vlogs I put up for classes, it just like to help like kind of just like give me content to put that's like occupational therapy related. So I kind of thought like in a way to kill two birds with one stone, kind of.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, and I mean, like, I definitely can agree that, like, doing that sort of, like, content creation, it gives you so much confidence, and, even sometimes you don't even realize it gives you confidence, and then, like, you just kind of notice a difference and everything, and especially vlogging, I mean, like, I do this podcast and, I post on social media and stuff, but I have never actively vlogged or anything, and, like, the thought of vlogging to me is, like it's something I would love to do, but, like, I'm like, "Oh, man," like, I don't think I could go to, like, Target and just, like, hold up a camera and be like, "Alright, like, we're in Target, like, we're about to go check out the new PS5, like, what's up?" Like, I don't know, I just feel like that I would I could probably get there because I think I have, like, that kind of extroverted social personality, but it's also, like, just holding up a camera, walking through a store by yourself. I'm like, "Ooh, man." You'd have to
Yeah.
be pretty confident to do that.
Yeah, no, but yeah, like you said, you're actually like you're a social extroverted person, so you would probably you have like an easy time like adjusting to it. I
Yeah.
feel like if you were to like vlog, like going to the gym or work or whatever, I feel like you have like an easy time. Because I remember like if you go back to like my first video, or I think it's like my first vlog video, that was literally just like just winging it. Like it just so
Okay.
happened that like and I was like really surprised at the outcome, because I like watched it. I was like, hold up, this actually looks like really like like for a first time, like it actually looks like not completely trash like I thought it was gonna look type stuff. Like
Right.
you'd be surprised if you just like took a camera and just like vlogged whatever, you'd be like, wow, like and then like you're editing, because believe it or not, like when you're editing videos, and again you probably attest this because I'm pretty sure you probably have a background in video editing, but it's pretty it's like it's hard at first, but eventually it gets easier. Like once you get like exactly what you want, and um and then you know exactly like how to put it together and what looks good and what doesn't, and then you gotta tag it well on YouTube. It's eventually it's all put together. Like
Yeah.
and then you eventually get the hang of it type stuff. It's tough at first, but
Mhm.
I feel like if anyone's like dedicated and like hungry enough, like, to succeed, I feel like they could get it. And I feel like
Definitely.
you would have that drive. I feel like you would easily have it. I've been on your YouTube before. I've seen like
Thank you.
you've had like tons of videos on there, so I know you definitely would have the drive
I
to do it for
appreciate it,
sure.
man.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I can tell you in confidence, because like just to keep it real, most people from my like class, like when we do like when we do like our Zoom meetings, they always have their cameras off, and then like I hit you up, I was like, "Hey, turn our cameras on." We were just down with it, so I know you have an easy time doing
Yeah.
vlogs.
I appreciate it, man, and same with you, like, I mean, I know you have that drive and the motivation, just, off the camera, just us talking, since we connected, it's been great conversations. I'm like, "Man, Mike's doing some big things, he's gonna continue to do big things," so it's cool to see, and, going off that really, you've mentioned, like, staying hungry, being hungry, having that drive. Has that always just been who you are? Or, like, is there something that really helped you become that way, or is that just Mike through and through?
So, so check. This is a really personal story I'm about to share, but I'm about to just give like everyone just the raw truth. I used
Okay,
to be like a bigger dude back in high school. Like, I was kind of just like fat and shy with no confidence at all whatsoever
okay.
type stuff. And I always said I was wanting to lose weight, and I would just never put it into place. So then what happened was I remember I asked a girl out to prom, and then those big promposal things you
Yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I did like that, and it was like she was on the soccer team, so I went during her soccer practice. The whole team saw it, but thank God she said yes,
Okay.
and then she said no, like in private.
Okay.
So after that, like, it's your first heartbreak.
Yeah.
So then, but then I remember I was watching I was watching some commercial. It was saying something. It was nothing related to like heartbreak, but it was like, "Don't get bitter, get better." And I just looked at that. I was like, you know what? Let me get better. So I remember I like went to the YMCA. I like would jog on the treadmill for a long time, like
Yeah.
basically almost an hour every day. And then it is crazy. Like you hear someone's like words, the constant like someone saying no and just like you're not good enough, like going through your head the whole time. But yeah, I dropped the weight. Then I started like lifting weights, like working out more. And then I'm not gonna lie, coming into like my well, starting out college, I failed really badly. Like I remember my first semester, like I like it was a bad adjustment. I ended up getting like on active probation.
Mhm.
And then like because it was like one hurdle after another. Next one for me, like getting over recovering over heartbreak because that was like my senior year of high school.
Right.
And then it comes back to oh yeah, be on active probation and stuff. So then kind of just always just having to build my way up. It just kind of became just part of me.
Yeah.
I'm kind of all over the place, but yeah, it kind of just became just part of me. Just like I want to live with like the situation I'm in, so let me change it. And same with like occupational therapy school because I remember like it's really competitive to get in.
Mhm.
I wasn't a competitive applicant, but then I got they invited me to an interview, and then I practiced with my friend. He does interviews. He's a CPA. Does interviews for his accounting firm. Like he went and put me through a boot camp basically, tore me apart, broke me down, then built me back up. I went to the interview. Um, I like it's one of those interviews that like when you walk out, you got the job or
Yeah.
got a position. And then yeah, that kind of how it is. I kind of just dealt like used to being in hard times.
Yeah. Oh, man, like, just hearing all that, like, that just gets me fired up, man. It's really cool to
Yeah.
hear it, major props to you for just overcoming those hurdles and getting to where you're at right now. I mean, just, like, talking to you, since we've connected and in this conversation, like, not to say that I didn't think, like, you've had, challenges in life or anything, but, I mean, just, you seem to me like a positive person, very hardworking, really accomplishing great things. It's like, kind of like in my mind, I'm like, "Oh, like, maybe he's, had some struggles, but, just has always been on this good path." And, just to even hear you, opening up about some of the hard things that you've been through, it's like, it's just reinforcing the idea you just got to keep going. And, if you're unhappy or in a bad situation, obviously some things we can't control, but if you can control something, like, change, make the change, whether that's a change that you have to make about yourself, a change in, the job that you're in, the school program that you're in, whatever. Just it can be intimidating and scary, but don't be afraid to make that change because you have no idea what's on the other side of change.
Yeah, exactly. And like when you like go for that, it actually just like becomes part of you. Like, cause like I didn't know that like people consider me like a hard worker. I always thought I was lazy. But then like
Okay.
just hearing like but just like hearing like feedback like you and other people just saying that like, wow, like like you motivate, you're so consistent. Like, people or I remember we had this little like what do you call those positivity boards or something we did like in class. I keep talking about school so much, but
I know you're good.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Something I
Like,
remember like everyone just said hard worker, hard worker, hard worker,
yeah,
hard
yeah,
worker. Oh, really? Type. I don't know. This came kind of just like normal to me. Like I was just
yeah.
thinking everyone did it. I was like, oh, like I thought everyone did this, And then
Right.
it kind of got into that mind, like like you don't want to fall behind in life,
Hmm.
and then that's where it just like came in, like well, I don't want to be behind or like fall behind in life, and then
Yeah.
I just kind of imagined that like probably not the most productive, but I kind of just imagined that like everyone else is just like ahead of me. I just need to like I just need to like keep like chasing what I need to, just to like stay
Okay.
ahead, stay on the path basically I want to go to. Maybe not bring other people. I won't bring other people into it, but just the path I want to go to because I remember in undergrad in particular, like studying for like tests or even like when it came to like losing weight. I would just think like, what if I put a little bit like 5 minutes more on the treadmill, or if I studied for like an extra hour or two, could that
Hmm.
bring me up from like getting a C to getting a B to getting an A? type. What if I saw one note that like, like is really on this test, or what if I like, I ran a little more to drop a couple more pounds, or you know, something like that. Always pushing myself.
Yeah. I think that's good, and I think that there's a lot of different perspectives that I've had in life, and I think a lot of us use, like, and I think that's a good one, Mike, of like, kind of like almost whether it's true or not, thinking that like there's always going to be someone better than us. There's always going to be someone that's working a little harder. There's always going to be someone that like while we're sleeping, they're staying up that extra hour to put in the work. And I guess like if you think about it, that might be like defeating, but at the same time, that's something like growing up that motivated me. It's like okay, if there's someone better than me, like, I'm not gonna let them be better than me for long, like, I'm gonna push myself to get to that level, and as I've gotten older, I still carry that mindset with me a bit, but, like, my mindset has changed in the sense that, like, if you, like, know me on a personal level, I'm very much like a I don't like talking about myself, I guess, like, use a humble kinda individual, but, like, in my mind on a regular basis, like, I'll walk into a gym and say, like, in my head, like, I'm the strongest person here, like, no one can outlift me, like, it's just almost like this massive ego, and it's not that I truly believe it, but it's like I have to believe it and have that, like, overwhelming self-confidence to accomplish and do the things that I'm doing, like, even this podcast, like, I mean, I every time I go into an episode recording, I'm like, "I am the best podcast host in the world, like, no one's better than me at this," and it just gives me the confidence to be able to do these and, to anyone that listens, like, you always hear me say, these episodes are completely unscripted, unedited, unplanned, and that's the total truth, like, Mike can attest to that, like, I didn't tell him, like, "Alright, I'm gonna ask you all these questions." I literally have no idea what I'm gonna say until I say it, so it's just you have to have that confidence in yourself, even if you have to, like, have a big ego in your head, like, don't do it out loud because you'll probably rub some people the wrong way, but just, like, have confidence in yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and you said you hit it like perfectly. Like, that's what you need to be. You need to have the confidence inside, but do not let anyone else know that you're like that type of
Exactly.
stuff. Like, it's like kind of like, cause like you said, like you like, what you call, like you said, like you see, like you're a friendly guy. Like, like you say, you're really humble, but like you just have that mindset. Like, like
Mhm.
you're confident enough to like do something. That's like how people like know that like you're a hard worker, but you're humble at the same time type, and that's like where people like will respect you, because a lot of people nowadays they're more of like talk rather than action.
Mhm.
And like it's kind of like you don't really see too many people that are more of action,
Yeah.
and then like kind of like a quiet. You can't, because like someone like that you can't help but respect them. Like, that's all you can really do. Like someone that's like just like works in silence, like
Mhm.
that's the name of the game. That's when people actually like celebrate your success with you, opposed to just think like, hey, this guy just like you know can't really like compliment him or nothing else. He'll tell you, he'll think rubbing it back in your face type stuff. So like
Exactly.
like the way you're doing it, I feel like that's the really good way. Like that way, like you'll make a lot more friends than enemies. Put it like that.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly, exactly, and I mean, I think that that's you have to have that confidence, but you have to walk that fine line of don't be arrogant, don't be cocky, don't come off just like as like a jerk that no one wants to know and stuff, but like, definitely have that confidence and like even if you just have it internally and just like it's all up here, you know, I think that when you have it in the mind, like, you physically have it too, right? Like, you walk a little taller, you're standing up with better posture and stuff, and that confidence just overflows in your life when you're meeting new people, making new friends, applying for jobs, interviewing for grad school, all that stuff. Like, the mental confidence helps with your physical confidence a lot too.
Yeah, I learned that too. Because back when I was like like working out a lot, I started boxing a lot.
Mm,
Because I remember like one thing that like really like kind of like I was insecure about is not being able to fight.
okay,
It's like as bad as it sounds. So I remember I started like practicing like boxing and stuff, like
okay.
because my favorite movie is Creed.
Yeah,
And
great
yeah,
movie.
yeah. So I started like, just like that's where I like kind of like got it from. I have a good friend, he does boxing a lot. So I remember like, I've been doing that since basically beginning of 2019. And just that, just like knowing that, you walk taller, like
Yeah,
obviously I'm not going around like swinging on people, but like,
right.
like you just like, it's like I could defend myself if needed. type
Yeah.
stuff. So there's really no need to really be insecure about that, you know? Like, sit back and like, just enjoy life at that point, you know? Type.
Exactly. Yeah, I love it, man. That's
Yeah,
awesome. Kind of switching gears a little bit, and I meant to make a comment on this earlier, but we got into some other stuff. But
yeah.
when you mentioned kind of the content that you want to do about like sports injuries and kind of like talking about it and everything, like when you said that, I was like, oh, man, as a sports fan, that'd be so cool. Like I would love like that kind of content, or like I'm not big into TikTok and how it works. So I think they've changed like the duration of the videos you can make and stuff. But like even I just envision you doing like a 60-second video of like, oh, this player just got injured this week. Like this is the injury. This is how they should rehab from it. This is how maybe they could prevented it, or like helped prevent it. And like that would just be super fascinating because it's like entertaining because it's something I care about being sports, but it's also like really knowledgeable. And like even though like I'm not like a NFL quarterback, when I go to the gym, I could be like, okay, like Mike was saying, the way that he, rotated his body or something might have put him at higher risk. So like if I'm doing a lift with like, rotation or something, like let's be like cognizant of that movement. So I definitely hope that you do go ahead with that content because that'd be really cool.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Because I was thinking, like, let's say like a hand, like take Dak Prescott for example, because he just think he like tore something in his hand. Like, I
Hmm.
don't know, if you saw that game where the Cowboys played the Bucks. Dak Prescott, yeah, he didn't really play the best that game.
Yeah, no,
But yeah, basically, yeah, I don't know if you saw that game or not.
yeah,
But yeah, he didn't really play the best. But yeah, that's what I plan on doing. Because
okay.
I saw another YouTuber around. I get a lot of my other ideas. But not to say like look, when you come to content creator, you watch other people and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
get your like
It
ideas
helps
and
you grow. Yeah,
kind
it
of
helps you
go up from there.
better.
But yeah, I saw someone else doing that, so I would basically just go up and like, okay, Dak Prescott, after the game, where he threw what, like 2, 3 picks. He needs to and then hurt his hand. I'd be like, oh, Dak Prescott, okay, so he hurt his whatever in his hand. Like I didn't really look at the injury too much, but
Hmm.
so that's gonna affect him doing this. And then so in order to rehab, he needs to do this. Maybe play
Yeah.
some mana so he figured out not to throw any picks and get like CD Lamb because CD Lamb he's my receiver for my fantasy football. But
Good
yeah,
pick.
something like that. Just like
Okay.
the outcome, the symptoms, and the treatment.
Okay.
That's what I have, just point out, and I feel like that's a good way because people are interested in sports. So
Yeah.
it's kind of and a lot of my a good amount of my subscribers, like since I did a couple of football vlogs, a lot of them are big into sports. So it's kind of just like combine the OT part of it, or at least the
Hmm.
sports therapy part of it, along with the actual sports and like
Yep.
know about like athletes. And honestly, since occupational therapy, there is a mental health concept of it. Let's say someone, oh, Antonio Brown, perfect case scenario. You take him, like like let's say, I forgot what he was technically diagnosed with. If I had to take a guess, is something schizophrenia
That
related?
would be
Just
my guess. Yeah.
yeah, just something like he's just like random stuff at random time, like has hallucinations. So I would look at mental health aspects of it. Like, oh, Antonio Brown, he this part of his brain is injured. I can't think of the top of my head what it is. But basically just give him like what I would think of a diagnosis, kind of.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. And so this was like way earlier in the conversation. You're talking about occupational therapy, and you mentioned kind of like upper body specific. So is occupational therapy just focused on upper body, or is it the whole body?
So it's kind of see, I only said upper body, and also my like field like my like program director like heard me say that
Okay.
top of my head.
Okay.
But it's just like kind of a way, like in simplistic terms, to someone that like has no clue like what
Okay.
occupational therapy is and like how is different physical. Not saying you don't, but I'm saying like if anyone watching this, like
Yeah.
if anyone's watching this, like just want like a quick abbreviation, it's kind of a way to think of it. But to
Okay.
go more into detail of it, it's just basically like for like your daily living, like anything to get back to your daily living. Um, Technically, occupational therapy, since walking technically is part of your daily living. Walking is more of the physical therapy side because it deals with your gait, your walking pattern.
Hmm.
But it technically is part of your daily living. So occupational therapists will work on that, which is worded differently, so you see the distinct differences.
Okay.
So um but back to the what you're saying about how it could relate to. I think you said, I'm sorry, what was the question again? I
Just like,
understand.
is occupational therapy solely just upper body related, or is it like the full body?
Okay, let's say like this. For I say for like sports reasons, for like sports related, I would say upper body.
Okay.
Because like if occupational therapy, like you could technically do shoulders, you have to get a special certification for it, but you technically could work with shoulders. Obviously, like if you're like a tennis player or a
Hmm.
golf or like a golf or something, and you mess up your elbow, there you go to an occupational therapist. They can help you like work on that. I know they have like high tech AI or like whatever technology you call it, but
Okay.
to help like rehab that. So
Gotcha.
it's in the sports perspective, because I feel like that's what I'm about to like go more into. I would say yes, upper body.
Okay. Mike, are you a baseball fan by chance?
Not really. I know like
Okay.
5 baseball players.
Okay, that's fair. So I'm sure you've maybe heard of this then, but maybe not since you're not a baseball guy. Have you heard of Tommy John surgery?
I actually haven't. No, I haven't heard of
Okay,
that.
it's like when you tear a ligament in the elbow, and
Yeah,
basically you have to, like, I guess, have like reconstructive surgery to repair the tendon or the
yeah,
ligament or whatever. I don't know medical terms that's in the elbow. It's basically like, from a pitcher gets it because they're throwing so much torque on the elbow, so much rotation. It kind of snaps the tendon and they have to repair it. It's called Tommy John, named after a baseball player. I believe it was like the first player to, like, in record, like, have that injury, so they named it
yeah.
after him. So the reason I asked was just I'm a big baseball fan, so I was curious, like, if you knew anything about that, since it is upper body elbow related, like how, just, I guess, how that would work, because there's some baseball players that they have that injury, their career's over, but there's some who have had that injury rehabbed and they're the same or even better than they were pre-injury. So I was just wondering if you had any, like, insight on it. I know it might be a little hard not being too familiar with the sport or the injury, but any insight?
Oh no, I got you on that. So basically, what it is like like in therapy in general, this thing. You have the golfer's elbow, which is the medial epicondyle, well, the inside of your arm, and you have the tennis elbow, which is the lateral part of your arm. And let me Google that to make sure. It probably is. I was making sure because sometimes I get confused. The point is, one's golfer, one's tennis, and the reason it's called that is because it's just such common injuries.
Yeah.
So, what was it called?
Tommy Johns.
Tommy John's syndrome. That's a common syndrome because everyone experiences that. Like a bunch of baseball players that I'm assuming a bunch of baseball players. I'm not sure.
Yeah, a
I
lot
know
of
for a
baseball
fact.
players.
Yeah, I know for a fact tennis and golf because that's why it's in the name. I know for a fact they do. So I'm like, I feel like you could. I feel like you would make a recovery off of that. Like this type of like you said, you probably just like it's like a tear in the tendon,
Yeah.
which may take a few weeks to repair.
Okay.
But I say yeah, it's definitely repairable. I mean, like I said, like him for that type of situation, just give him like honestly for him, he have to ice it every day.
Hmm.
Range of motion, that's something you need to stay in there. Maybe chill on the weights for a minute, slow your way back into getting it. And then just like constantly just set him some like short term goals, like I don't know, man, pitch it 30 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Then long term, go ahead and pitch it 1,000 miles per hour. So I don't know, like something like
Right.
that. So just
Okay.
slowly rehabbing it back, basically.
Okay. Perfect. And I just had to Google it just so I could give you, like, the actual, like,
Yeah,
speak your
yeah.
language for a minute. So it says, it's more formally known as ulnar collateral ligament UCL reconstruction, and it's used to repair a torn ulnar collateral ligament inside the elbow.
I'm sorry, I was just thinking about ulnar collateral ligament. I'm sorry, I was
Yeah.
thinking because it's kind of like anatomy terms, but yeah. So yeah, that's towards the medial. Yeah, it's towards the medial epicondyle. This
Okay.
part of your arm. This part. I wish I could take a shirt off so I could show you. But like this part of your elbow right here.
Okay.
Um, that basically is that makes sense because it's doing it. Internal external rotation.
Yep.
Inside and outside rotation, basically.
Okay.
So basically for that, I'm assuming that he probably hurt this little muscle right here. Is what you call it? It's called the what you call what's this thing called? The supinator. That's what it's called. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, think of the anatomy that turns back then. And I know that's a pretty big muscle that like inserts into like various types of parts of your body. So
Mm-hmm.
now that you mentioned that part, now that it mentions a nerve too, I will it definitely take some weeks to rehab, like
Yeah.
type stuff. Like
Okay.
yeah, they're gonna find a new picture for sure.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
um hopefully it wouldn't require surgery since it is um it is the ulnar nerve. Hopefully it doesn't require surgery. But um yeah, it might be might be out for a couple of weeks. Like
Right. Right.
I'm kind of making assumptions. Like it's like the first time I heard of it. I know
Yeah.
it's kind of like this. Like this is a pretty big part of your movement.
Right.
Like summer
Definitely.
vacation.
Okay. No, I appreciate the insight, especially like you kind of
Yeah.
going in, you know, blind without any knowledge or experience with it. Next time, next time we talk though, I expect you to be an expert and tell me
Oh yeah,
all the
yeah,
info
definitely.
on
I'm
it.
working on it. Hope I'm accurate with it.
Awesome. But Mike, I do have to switch gears a little bit since I know you said you're a big football guy. I
Yeah.
said I'm a big baseball guy, but honestly, I'm a big sports fan. So with football, NFL, college, both, do you have a favorite?
So probably not popular opinion because you say you're from Ann Arbor, right?
Ann Arbor area. I'm from Plymouth.
Okay, so I'm a big Ohio State fan.
Oh man,
Yeah.
man. Okay,
Yeah, yeah, kind of changed dynamics of this, but yeah, I remember like, okay, I have a legitimate reason though because
okay,
well, maybe not too legitimate, but basically I went to like an elementary school where everyone like loved Michigan
okay.
and a few kids like state and which is pretty much every elementary school, but like
Mm-hmm.
school in general, but like it was like really like over exemplified here. So I was like, you know what, I want to be different type stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember like my favorite color is red. So what team can I root for that isn't Michigan, isn't state, and could probably beat both? And then I see Ohio State on TV. I was like, you know what? I like that team. I'm rolled down. And then ever since then,
Okay.
so but the
Okay.
only reason I pick NFL is because I have like two fantasy leagues. So
Okay.
yeah, that's why like I've been like looking. That's why I've been like watching them heavy. Like I'm pretty mad I didn't play Amari Cooper last night because like he scored like he got 100 yards receiving and a
Yeah.
touchdown. So I'm definitely more into like NFL, college, of course, mainly to look at the future. So I know what fantasy players to pick
Okay.
pretty much. Thank God I got Drake London, you know?
Good pick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I love it. I respect the Ohio State. I mean, I grew up a Spartans fan. I was a Michigan State fan all my life. Then as I got older, a lot of close people to me went to Michigan. So, just being a college kid, I'd spend a lot of time in Ann Arbor. I lived pretty close to Ann Arbor, went to a lot of Michigan games. So I became a Michigan fan. So, to this day, I like them both. I I by no means am I an Ohio State fan, but I respect them a lot. They're a fantastic program, fantastic team. And honestly, like, I mean, just thinking back the past years and stuff, like there's been a lot of players on the Ohio State teams that I've really, really liked and who have been phenomenal in the NFL. I don't know which one I like better between college or pro. I like them both a lot, but big Lions fan, unfortunately, even though I think they're turning it around. But I love Jeff Okuda.
Yeah,
He's one of your Buckeyes. So it hurts me to say, but the Buckeyes are a good team for sure.
yeah, I gotta give it to you guys too, like look at I mean Lions, like they really got the number one pick in the draft or number two pick
Number
in the
two.
draft, like
Yeah.
80 Hutchinson. I think he has like 6 sacks already, if the two or something like that, like 4, 5, 6 sacks.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he's going ham
Yeah.
right now. Like it's going crazy.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
Michigan throws a good players, here and there. Ohio State. I don't know if you heard it, but like there's talk that like this team might literally be on. I don't know. Like there's talk. I saw a video saying reasons why Ohio State would be unbeatable this year, and watch me say that and they lose this week. Like it's like that
Yeah.
type. You know.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Like I'm fine with them staying undefeated for a few more weeks till they come. Or I don't know if they're in Ann Arbor
Yeah, they're
or
Columbus. I think
Philadelphia.
it's
They're
November
close.
26th. I think.
Yeah, it's like always the last November or
Yeah, last
something.
game. Yeah, they made
Yeah,
sure
yeah,
for that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
bad blood this game.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Do you have a favorite NFL team?
I might be like you, because I kind of just solely watch NFL just for fantasy. I might be like
Okay.
you, just, like root for the Lions. I got
Okay.
I got DeAndre Swift on my fantasy team,
Okay.
so I'm rooting for them. Do you know who they're playing this week? I don't know who they're playing this week.
Vikings.
Vikings. Okay, he should run through that. All right.
Yeah, he should.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, now I'm just gonna take this opportunity to ask. I'm playing fantasy this year for the first time in probably like 5, 6 years. What kind of tips or advice do you have for setting my team up for success?
All right, so we're in week 3. The
Yeah.
one thing I definitely like would say to do is play that waiver wire. Like
Okay.
the first 4 weeks are like vital to playing the waiver wire because that's
Okay.
when all the best dudes are getting snatched up. Because like come like week like 8, 9, 10, later in the year, like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
when like all the guys like it's not really consistent players, like and then they don't time to develop. Like I
Mm-hmm.
remember distinctly one year, dude. Like I had Antonio Brown. He wasn't playing when he was with the Steelers. He
Yeah.
wasn't playing that well. And then like my running backs were it's just my team was just collapsed. It was horrible. My team was terrible that year. Because I had like 300 running backs. I had Jordan Howard you know, who got a spot ran by 5'6" Tariq Cohen,
Yeah.
like type thing. So I ended up having to trade Antonio Brown for 2 waiver picks. The number 1 pick in the draft. I had to trade him.
Yeah. Oh
It was
man.
the most
Okay.
painful thing. After that, I knew like play that waiver wire.
Okay.
Um, I have Kyle Pitts. You know who that is?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
tight end for the
Falcons
Falcons.
tight end.
Okay, I'm about to trade him.
Okay. Yeah, he's been rough this year.
Yeah, and then but for you, back to you. I would definitely say that yeah, just kind of just play the waiver wire, get as
Okay.
many running backs as you can. Um, the just tip, the 49ers running back, Jeff Wilson, if he's out there, he got a good amount of yards. Like I think like 80, almost 90 yards last week.
Okay.
Grab him. Those 2 receivers, Jahan Dotson, and then what's the other guy? Garrett Wilson, Ohio State right there.
Yeah.
Grab
Yep.
grab those two.
Okay.
And then quarterbacks, it kind of out of luck there. No really good quarterbacks right now. Sleeper quarterbacks, but uh oh yeah, tight end Gerald Everett. I know he's out there in a couple leagues getting snatched up quick.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, personally, I do believe. I mean, if you would somehow trade for Christian Kirk, I would say that'd be like one of those sleeper types where he's still like kind of low value because it's like his like from over the past years people just think it's like a mid tier wide receiver, but he's going
Mm-hmm.
ham this year. It might
Oh
be
yeah. Yeah.
like an air raid.
I'm a big Kirk fan. Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. No, I appreciate the advice. And to anyone that is listening that's into fantasy football, there's some good tips for you. I know probably after we get off this call, I'm about to shoot Mike a text with my squad and ask for all the advice so
Well, yeah,
I could
send me.
win.
Like, I'll send in my fantasy league group chat. They love to give advice there. I mean, I can't guarantee it'll be
Perfect.
good advice, but like because I'm first place, so obviously like with it,
Okay. Okay. I like it.
Well, no, I take that bet. Hold up, I might be like 4th place actually. I'm sorry, I won it last year, so I'm used to like kind of rubbing it into them. My bad.
You're
you
good,
know?
man. It's still early in the season, so there's no
Yeah.
saying you won't finish first. But yeah, I'll definitely shoot that to you. So man, it's been a really fun conversation, man. To anyone that's listening, that's enjoying the conversation and wants to, check out your content, see what you're doing, follow your journey. Do you have a best place to connect with you, see your content, see your vlogs, anything like that?
Yeah, so if you want to see like more vlogs, and also like if you have feedback for like what you guys are looking for in my vlogs, so my YouTube is Mike from the Mitten, just like space and like Mike space from the Mitten, Mike space from space the Mitten. That's
Okay.
my YouTube, and then follow me on Instagram, Mike underscore from underscore the underscore Mitten.
Okay.
Um, I want to try to see like check me out here.
Okay.
They kind of like
Perfect.
see that type stuff,
Yep.
but. Yeah,
Okay.
those are my socials.
Okay.
On TikTok too. I don't really go into that much, but like same thing, Mike from the Mitten.
Okay. Perfect. And I will also put Mike's socials in the description of this episode. So if you didn't catch it or anything, just go to the description and all that will be there for you to just connect with Mike. Like you said, let him know if there's any specific content that you want to see. Connect with him. I'm sure like if you just like message him like what's up, like he'd love to have a conversation, especially if you're into fantasy football. I'm sure he'd be happy to chop it up about all things fantasy. So definitely check out Mike. And again, I'll put all of his socials in the description of this episode. But Mike, as we're wrapping things up, any last thoughts, words, message, or anything that you want to give to the people listening?
Hey man, Zach's the goat, dog. Jim had me on there.
Appreciate
Shout
it,
out to
man.
Tyler too.
Yeah, shout out to Tyler, Tyler, who has been a guest on the podcast. If you've been listening along, shout out to Tyler for connecting Mike and I. Appreciate the kind words, man. Especially, anytime I hear GOAT, I think of Tom Brady. So anytime I can be in Tom's company, I'm a happy guy, so, appreciate it, and, Mike, it's been super great to connect with you, like I said, for this episode and outside of it. I'm really, really excited to just continue to follow your journey, see what you do both, with your content, with your career in occupational therapy. I'm glad that I learned a little bit more about occupational therapy too, and, I'm excited to see what happens once you finish grad school and get your, license and everything, and really join those 2 passions of occupational therapy with content creation and sports too. I think it's gonna be really exciting. So, I'm certainly gonna be following along, and I can't wait to see what you do, man.
Appreciate the kind words, Zach. Real talking to you.
Yeah, it's been great, man. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Oh my God, you too. See you around.
See ya.